Mom, if you've lost your mind, you could have just said so. We would have all chipped in for meds.
I'm perfectly sane, thanks. And you keep your pills for yourselves.
She wagged a finger.
And tell your doctor, give me something for greed. And make it a big bottle.
That's not funny.
Nick snapped, offended.
Mom, don't take this the wrong way, but at 73, people sometimes stop thinking clearly.
Next you'll be filing papers to have me declared incompetent. Let me save you the trouble. It's not gonna happen.
Mom, I wasn't going to. But this decision of yours? It sounds insane.
Smells like crazy, that's for sure.
And what exactly is it you two don't like? It's my property. I can leave it to whoever I want.
Mom! You've got 2 kids, 4 grandkids, and you decided to leave everything to Rory. Just Rory. Are you serious right now?
What's wrong with that? He's my grandson. I love him. And I want everything to go to him. Period.
Well, yeah, technically. But we're all family. So it should be split evenly. Or you don't love the rest of us?
Vera, why are you climbing into something that's not your business? The right to make a will belongs to the one who owns the stuff. That's me.
She tapped her chest.
And nobody has the right to tell me how I should handle my own property. I want it this way. What's the problem? You get your own assets, you can leave them however you like.
Yeah, Vera.
Nick snorted, nudging her with his elbow.
Go get yourself some assets. Or better yet, tell your husband to get off his butt and earn something worth inheriting.
He turned back to their mother.
But you're gonna explain, like a normal person, why you're leaving everything to Rory.
What is there to explain? That's what I want.
You really don't get that we'll take this to court?
Nick raised his voice.
I will absolutely sue my own son if I have to. It's insane to dump everything on one person. What about the rest of the family?
You should all be happy your dear Rory's about to be filthy rich. Be happy for the boy.
I'll make his life hell if he doesn't share.
Make your own life hell. You leave my kid alone. And he doesn't owe you a damn thing. What are you, Aunt Handout?
He sneered.
Now if he doesn't share with me, then he's really gonna have problems.
Oh, listen to him. Our mother's inheritance, and somehow it's supposed to go to you and your son? What are we, strangers? Chopped liver? How does that work?
Oh, Vera. You as an heiress is like me as a locomotive. Your whole life you've only looked out for your own pocket and spit on everyone else.
And when exactly did you become better than me? You're the same. If not worse.
Exactly why neither of you is getting a thing.
Victoria said loudly, raising her voice just enough to shout them both down. Nick and Vera went quiet and stared at their 73-year-old mother.
Let's say you don't love your own kids. Fine. But Rory's got a brother too.
And 2 sisters.
4 grandkids altogether. Why are you leaving everything to just him?
Because that's what I want.
But he's not even really yours. He's not blood.
Nick flushed red and turned on his sister with open fury.
Nobody asked you. He's my son. I raised him. On paper, he's mine. And besides, nothing's been proven.
Oh please. Line them all up. It's obvious who belongs and who's the neighbor's kid.
That's exactly why I want him to have it all. Because he's not like the rest of you.
Nature gives most parents that built-in, unconditional love for their kids. Society adds another layer on top: raise them right. Give the world decent human beings. Honestly, you don't need a TED Talk to know this. Almost every mom and dad wants their child to grow up to be a good person, and most of them really do try. The problem? Parents aren't the only ones raising those kids. The world outside has its hands all over them too. Friends, screens, social media, random adults, the general madness of life. And that world, let's be real, is far from perfect. If only we could shield them from all the bad stuff. Parents sigh when their kid picks up some nasty habit or foul language. So they'd grow up right and turn into decent people. But you can't lock kids in the basement and throw away the Wi-Fi. You can only stuff so much into their heads while they're little. Once they're grown, they start using their own brains. And not all of what those brains come up with makes their parents happy. Advice starts going in one ear and out the other. At some point, you just have to love what actually grew, not what you planned to grow. Back when Victoria was just Vicky, she also dreamed about raising kind, fair kids. It wouldn't have been such a hard job if she hadn't had to do it basically alone. Her daughter had just turned 2, her son was about to start first grade, and that's when her beloved husband, and father of her wonderful children, announced.
The guys at work are laughing at me, saying I'm whipped and living in your parents' house.
That was 7 years ago. They just now noticed.
Tell your parents to sign the house over to me, or I'm gone.
You build your own damn house, then you can make the rules there. You only ever show up here to sleep and eat. Everything at home happens without you. And now you want their place handed to you?
So Paul walked. She only found out in court, when they were setting child support, that he already had 2 other kids, by 2 different women, who were also lining up for their share. From that day on, Vicky was on her own with her kids. Her parents helped, sure. But when you work your fingers to the bone on the farm all day and then on your own half-acre in the evenings, there isn't much energy left for deep, soulful bonding. Nick and Vera weren't neglected. They didn't grow up in the street. But they picked up a lot more from everywhere else, neighbors, classmates, TV, whoever, than from their mom and grandparents. Vicky realized something was off when both her kids bolted the second they hit 18. They practically spit on the doorstep on their way out.
We're going to the city. That's where life is. This place is a swamp.
Nick declared first. A couple years later, Vera echoed him almost word for word. Teenagers and early 20-somethings are famous for loud declarations. This was no different. They swore they'd never come back. Of course, real life in the city turned out to be a lot less glamorous than in their imaginations. Paying rent and eating something other than instant noodles wasn't cheap. So they started dropping by again, for food, for cash. On good days, they came separately. On bad days, they landed on their mom's doorstep at the same time and managed to turn even a quiet Sunday into a screaming match. Same as when they were kids. Most of those fights were about money.
Mom should give me more. I'm the man. I've got to find a wife, take her out. Flowers, presents. You can let guys pay for your dinners.
To get anyone to invite you to dinner, you have to invest in yourself first. Hair, makeup, clothes. You just shower and you're suddenly a prince. And flowers grow in front yards, they're free.
Once they each built their own families, it got a little quieter again. They were busy with their spouses, their own kids, their own messes. They almost forgot their mom existed. When Vicky buried her parents, neither Nick nor Vera showed up to say goodbye to their grandparents. But they both magically reappeared once they had children of their own. They hadn't figured out how to get ahead in life. Their partners were just like them, loud, always broke, eternally resentful. Kids ate, bills piled up, and everyone suddenly remembered the woman with the vegetable garden. They tried to go back to the old pattern, mom as the ATM. For themselves and now, for the grandbabies. Victoria, now well into her 60s, shut that down fast.
I'm not giving you money. You're grown. Earn it.
She held up a hand before they could protest.
But I will give you the garden. The land's good. Whatever you grow, you can keep. I'll even water during the week while you're at work. But the weeding and everything else? That's on you.
In principle, Nick and Vera decided, that's not bad. Big plot, good soil. We'll get a solid harvest if we work it as two families. And that's how Victoria really got to know her in-laws and grandkids. Before, she'd only seen them on holidays, for a couple of polite hours. Now, weekends turned into a full-blown family circus on her property. Every leaf, every berry, every grain of fertilizer showed people's true nature. Her verdict wasn't flattering. Of course they picked people just like themselves, she thought sourly. Her son-in-law and daughter-in-law were exactly like Nick and Vera, loud, greedy, always calculating who's getting the better deal. The grandkids, most of them, were copies of their parents. Except one. Nick's youngest boy, Rory, stood out from the very beginning. Even at 5, he was different. And by 15, it was impossible not to notice how different.
Why aren't you out there with the others?
Victoria asked him one hot Saturday, finding him sitting in the shade by the shed.
Ugh, forget it. They're so loud my ears hurt. Half the neighborhood's hanging over the fence watching the free show.
What's the fight about this time?
Victoria smiled.
Aunt Vera cut up Dad's string for the cucumbers. And in the tomatoes, she left his soaker hose running and flooded half the bed. The peppers got hit too.
He rolled his eyes.
Dad said he's either building a wall around his side of the garden, or he's pouring kerosene on Aunt Vera's rows.
Victoria chuckled.
And Aunt Vera said she'll build her own fence and run barbed wire across the top. Dad told her he'll hook it up to power from his side. I don't know why they can't just live like normal people.
And you? What are you going to do?
I'll wait it out here. They'll scream, then start throwing dirt, then stomp off to sulk. Once they cool down a bit, I'll go pick the beetles and fill the barrels for watering.
He kicked at a stone with his sneaker.
If they weren't here, I'd be done in an hour and already at the river. But no, I get to sit and listen to them chew each other's heads off.
Everyone saw how unlike his family Rory was. Different temperament, different mind. Even his face didn't really look like either parent. The whole town knew the story. Nick's wife had slipped once, maybe more than once, but there'd been one particular slip at the end of her first maternity leave, and 9 months later, there was Rory. Nick had found out, put it together, thrown a fit, then, for reasons only he really understood, decided to forgive her. He'd been running around himself back then, so maybe it felt fair. He put his name on the birth certificate. He raised Rory as his own. He never treated him differently from the other kids. And he shut down gossip hard. The one time he got drunk at a barbecue and let something slip to Vera's husband, the story exploded. People still whispered. The resemblance, or total lack of it, didn't help. But anytime the whispers got too loud, Nick would answer in his usual style, crude, aggressive, and very clear that he considered Rory his kid and that was that. As the years went by, the differences between Rory and the rest of the clan only got more obvious. When the whole herd swarmed the garden every summer weekend, Rory gravitated to Victoria. They all came only in warm months. He came all year long. Once or twice a month, no matter the weather, he'd show up, shovel snow, fix a step, bring groceries, change a light bulb. Or just sit with her over tea and listen to her stories so she wouldn't feel so alone. When Victoria started helping out an elderly neighbor 3 houses down, a widow with no kids, Rory helped with that too. He took the bus with his grandma into town, carried medicine and groceries, sat through long clinic lines, walked them both back at a slower pace, talking the whole way. So when that neighbor passed away and left her small house to Victoria, for all the care and company, it felt fair. Victoria had earned it. By the time she turned 73, she had more than most in their little town. A decent chunk of savings in the bank, almost $500,000 total between life insurance, the old farm sale and years of not spending much. A safe deposit box with some gold jewelry and heirloom pieces. And 2 houses, her own and the neighbors'. Then, during one of their usual summer raids on her garden, Vera came early to help in the house, got bored, started poking around, and found a draft of Victoria's will in a drawer. A proper one had already been filed with a lawyer, this was just Victoria's handwritten copy. Vera read it. Twice. Then she handed it to Nick. By noon, they'd both worked themselves into a righteous fury and descended on their mother with one question: how dare she? Word by word, layer by layer, the truth came spilling out. And once it started, there was no stuffing it back in. It hurt seeing your own kids look at you with pure hatred. But what can you do, if they never really learned how to look at you with love?
I raised you to be good people. And you grew into whatever you grew into. I don't know if that's my fault, or the world's, or both.
She sighed.
At this point, we're not going to figure it out.
She straightened her back.
But what I do know is this: out of all my so-called family, the one who's been the most like real family to me is that not really mine grandson.
She looked from Nick to Vera.
While you two were busy tearing each other apart and counting each other's money, only Rory treated me like a human being. Like someone you actually care about. And he stayed out of your fights because he's got a kind heart. Which is more than I can say about either of you.
If he's so kind, then he'll share with us. Split it evenly.
He's kind.